sifa ya bure lakini ya utu. Oh no. So nitapata wapi majibu ya maswali? Mahindi lienda wapi? Pia shilingi ya shule za msingi. Pawa mtume, mbona jela usimtume? Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Mapenzi ndizo hali mabasa tulificha kwa kabati. Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa wazee. Tulimangamanga mpaka za maded I say. Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Oh. Sheria. Oh. Sheria. Sheria. Fuata. Sheria. Sheria. Oh, oh. Sheria. Yeah, yeah. Fuata. Sheria. 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 Oh, oh. Fuata. Sheria. Sheria. Pia wewe mwananchi, tabia zako ziko chini. Unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo. Una mipango na hata watoto wa kando. Haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini. Kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki. Na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi, kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment, utalipa king ya parliament. We are one, amani we are one. Na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Pressure insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti. Side moja heavy, usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando inathreaten our survival. Media define leadership, na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli. Ni kubaya baka kukiwa kuzuri, unashindwa nini mbaya? Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Lakini it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria.
You know, every time you hear that song, you know what's up. It's Sheria Dive right here on Power Radio with me, James WaNjeri. Karibuni sana. This is a show where we talk legal. We talk legal, we discuss legal, and we just take a deep dive into some of those questions that you have. And that song starts with Nalipa Tax. Now, the finance bill is out. Of course, this is just a bill. Those of you who remember GHC, waswa GHC kama mimi, or I guess the new generation is social studies. You'll remember that a bill has to go through several stages before it becomes the law. So we're going to be discussing some of the proposals that are being put through in the finance bill. And many of these have to do with taxes. Now, I know there's a lot of conversation about the motor vehicle tax. You know, you're being taxed for owning a car. It does not earn you an income or anything. We're going to be talking about that. But there are other taxes that will affect you that maybe we're not talking about so much on social media and in the news. And today my plan is to actually speak about each and every one of those proposals and then inform you how you, as a Kenyan citizen, the Constitution has provided an avenue for you to give your thoughts on the bill, for you to give your thoughts on some of the taxes that are being proposed and some of the changes that are there. But as usual, it's good news for helicopter buyers and sellers because hawaguzwi, but mkate inakujiwa. Let's get a song and then when we come back, we talk about some of the proposed taxes that you're going to be seeing eating into our paycheck and eating into our income this new year. Let's go.
Power Radio. Power up.
TS track by the one and only King Culture. That is Miss Zoe from Nasty Bitch. Like, and she's the nastiest bitch. For real. Like, let me tell you something.
Text me, you're my necessity. Won't you please come next to me? Feels like ecstasy. I want you to be my everything. Oh, and baby, please, will you be my specialty? Are you sure? Close enough, you can call me bluff, baby. Won't you open up? Do anything for your love. You ask me how I'm old enough. Questions about my trust. Don't you worry, I'm yours, and I'm sure it's like destiny, funny enough. How we went to each other, we got close and close. Got to know your secrets and your favorite game. You're my aim. Oh, you're my aim. When I saw your face, you're my aim. And I can never trade. Help me beat this game. Feel like this, but you're my aim. This lasts as long as I live. Text me, you're my necessity. Won't you please come next to me? Feels like ecstasy. I want you to be my everything. Oh, and baby, please, will you be my specialty? Are you sure? I want you to be my 80s chick flick right in this club. We're dirty dancing like no one is watching us. My baby, aren't you different? Never seen before. All this tension, want you loosen it up on the floor. I want you to be my 90s romance right in this club. Never been kissed before, but will you be my first one? Can you be my first destiny? You're my necessity. Won't you please come next to me? Feels like ecstasy. I want you to be my everything. Oh, and baby, please, will you be my specialty? Are you sure? Close enough, you can call me bluff, baby. Won't you open up? Do anything for your love. You ask me how I'm old enough.
understand? Like, have you ever put in earphones and instantly just listen to pussy? Like, just listen to pussy. Like,
Yeah, this is Sheria Dive. Today we're talking about the Finance Bill 2024. This is still a bill. Some of these proposals are still under discussion. So the law allows you to actually come and give your feedback to these matters. And I'm going to be sharing how we can do that later. But some of the highlights are this. Banking services will cease to be VAT exempt. And I'll be talking a lot more about this. But every time you do a transaction with your bank, there'll be a 16% VAT that is charged on that service. And that will affect your bank balance, of course. But this is not just for banking, because it's going to also come and affect mobile money transfers. So when you transfer money via M-Pesa, you can expect more charges to come in. Now, for those who are retired, the retirees, the allowable pension deduction has been increased from 20,000 to 30,000 per month. This is, of course, is a very good development. Now, there is an eco levy that is being introduced. All right, and we'll be talking about this because it ranges from 98 shillings per unit to 1,275 shillings per unit. Now, on import declaration fee, right, it is being bumped from 2.5% of customs value to 3.0%. So there's an increase of 0.5% on that import declaration fee. Now, let's talk about banking services. Now, once you make any advance or you grant credit, okay, so let's say you take a loan from the bank, now VAT will be slapped on that loan. Then also check handling, processing, clearing, and settlement will attract VAT. The issuance of a credit and a debit card, when you go to the bank and they charge you that 500 shillings to give you a new card, there is a VAT charge on that. Telegraphic money transfers are also going to attract VAT. Foreign exchange transactions, including the supply of foreign drafts and international money orders, also attract VAT in this proposal. Then, where you have a unit trust or you have a collective investment scheme, it is registered by the Capital Markets Authority and managed by the trustees of the scheme, that will also attract VAT. Now, we're going to have a problem here because you realize that the banks are not going to just take this cost themselves. They'll want to pass it on to the next person, and that is going to be you and I. Now, in that bill, they'd like when we talk about tax disputes, part of the challenge has been, how do you compute the days for a tax dispute, okay? So one of the suggestions that the bill wants to introduce is that when they are computing the period, Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays will be excluded. So that means that moving forward, when computing the period, you'll only use business days, which is Monday to Friday, right? And they also do not count the holidays. Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority wants the Data Protection Act to be amended so that they can access your personal data. Now, remember, Section 51(2) of the Data Protection Act creates, or rather binds, and creates a protection for you and I as, the data subjects. Now, there is a new section that is being introduced, which is to say that disclosure is necessary for the assessment, enforcement, or collection of any tax or duty under a written tax law. Now, remember, under the Data Protection Act, certain parts of your data cannot be shared with any person. But what the KRA now wants to do is to ensure that they are never exempt from looking at your data, which means that one day if KRA wants to look at your M-Pesa statements, if KRA wants to look at your SACCO statements, anything, then they have access to that. They are not limited in getting access to that data. I don't know how this is going to be received, but what you're seeing here is sweeping powers for the Kenya Revenue Authority. Those of you who like to eat bread in the morning, that's your breakfast, VAT. The supply of ordinary bread will cease being zero rated for VAT. It used to have VAT at 0%. Now we are going to see VAT coming in. And of course, some of the reports indicate that bread is likely to rise by as much as 10 Kenya shillings. So if you're buying it at 50, just know you're going to be buying it at 60 shillings. All right. Now, the government also wants to introduce an eco levy. An eco levy will be charged on office machines at 98 shillings per unit. So just look at all the laptops you have there in the office, 98 per unit. Calculating machines will be charged at 225 shillings per unit. Automatic data processing machines will be charged at 225 shillings per unit. Art and accessories at 98 shillings per unit. I don't know why we are taxing art. Telephones, including smartphones, at 225 shillings per unit. So if you have 1,000 telephones in your business, times 225. There you go. Microphones and speakers, even us here in studio, 98 shillings per unit. That is the eco levy coming. Monitors and projectors will face a tax of 1,275 shillings per unit. And there's also a class of diapers that will be subject to the levy at 98 shillings per unit. I think I want to stop there for now. Then let's get some music. When we come back, we talk more about some of the proposals that are in the Finance Act. Ndio tujipange. And then we'll also be discussing to know how can you and I prepare ourselves to give our feedback on some of these proposals. Let's get some music. Let's go.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
Ni maradufu, upendo wako umenifaa. Ni maradufu, yeah, yeah. Uwepo wako umetawala. Nikiwa peke yangu sijakamilika, hata mipango yangu inavurugika. Hakuna anayezidi kwako mama, nguvu ya mapenzi yako bara. Umenifanya nijione bora, bila wewe mimi siwezi ng'ara. Hakuna tena zaidi yako mama, nguvu ya mapenzi yako bara. Umenifanya nijione bora, bila wewe mimi siwezi ng'ara. No, no. In case you don't know, nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe.
Inaweza kwa fresh kauna time twende mali out, au kena chosho usimain. Neza kaa kwa couch ni try kuimpress hata smile, then you turn around and whine by yourself for me. You got me trying to resist. I pay no mind to the rest, and I can't make a mind, you're the best for me. You pretty bum look, now you made me love you. Now let me remind you or tell you in case you don't know.
Nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe. Nasema mimi najivunia kwa nawe, kwa furaha unayonipa, nipa darling. Nasema mimi najivunia kwa nawe, kwa furaha unayonipa, nipa baby. In case you don't know, nitacheka nawe, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe. In case you don't know, nitalinga nawe, nitakwenda nawe popote my baby. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitaimba nawe, nitakwenda nawe. In case you don't know, nitacheza nawe, nitalinga nawe. In case you don't know.
Welcome back. Remember, we're talking about the taxes that are being introduced in the Finance Bill 2024. This is still a bill. These are still proposals. Now, let's go to one of the big ones. The motor vehicle tax is being introduced. This will be 2.5% of the value of the vehicle, with the minimum being set at 5,000 shillings and the maximum set at 100,000 shillings. So let's try and do some math here. It means if your car is 4 million, worth 4 million shillings, so we're talking about maybe a new Forester, a RAV4, something like that. Hakuna difference yako na mtu wa V8. Both of you will pay 100,000 shillings even if their car is worth 40 million Kenya shillings. That's been one of the challenges because then the question is it really fair for someone like that to be asked to pay the same amount as someone who's driving a Gazla? Then one of the things that will happen with this tax is that when you go to pay for your insurance premiums, the insurance company will also collect this tax. So based on the value that you give them, they'll collect this amount on top of your premium. So if you know you pay maybe 100,000 in premiums, you better now start planning for 200,000. Start saving and saving and saving because the government is coming for that money. Now, one thing to note about this tax is that there's a penalty. 50% of the uncollected tax, all right? That's the penalty plus the actual amount of uncollected tax. And that penalty is directed towards the insurance companies. Now, part of the challenge with this tax is this. Why are we having the motor vehicle tax and we're also having the road maintenance levy side by side? Remember, part of the road maintenance levy, which had been introduced in 2006 by then Treasury CS Amos Kimunya, was to address the question of compliance requirements that were multiple, right, when it came to motor vehicles in Kenya. So the road maintenance levy was then introduced. It almost feels like when you have the motor vehicle tax together with the road maintenance levy, it feels like a double taxation or something. It's really not fair to have both of them. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Now, the other thing you have to realize is that insurance premiums are already at 4% of the value of the vehicle. Now, if you add another 2.5, that becomes 6.5%. That is a huge amount. 6.5% for the car you have. You can imagine if you have more than one car, then that means that your premiums are going to hit the roof. So I don't know how this is going to work, but remember, these are still proposals, and then we'll look at this more and more. Now, the Treasury has also proposed to increase the import declaration from the current 2.5% of the customs value to 3%, so an increase of 0.5%. Now, there was a complaint by alcoholic beverage manufacturers that the window for remitting the excise duty had been put at 24 hours, and now it has been revised to 5 working days. And part of the challenge here was that the manufacturers were saying, if you want us to pay this amount daily and we run a credit business, you know, once the beer leaves the factory, you have 30 days to receive money. So it cuts off circulation and affects the liquidity of the manufacturer. So I think the government has listened to that and is now increasing that period from 24 hours to 5 days. Sawa. Now, to be able to register for VAT, the threshold has always been set at 5 million shillings. The government is now increasing that to 8 million shillings. The last time there was a revision of this was in 2007 when it moved from 3 million to 5 million shillings. Now, remember that thing they used to call the digital services tax? Yes, that is the one influencers were up in arms when they discover they're going to be getting taxed for the work that they do. Now, what the government is doing is that it's doing away with the digital services tax, and it now wants to adopt what we call the significant economic presence tax. Now, the taxable profit of a person liable to pay the tax shall be 20% of gross turnover, after which the tax is slapped at 30%. Now, you'll remember that the digital services tax was at 1.5%, and now it looks like we're having an increase of 6%. All right? So, I don't know how this is going to be. It's a bit problematic and a bit confusing, but of course, we're going to see more and more. We're going to get more and more information, and also as the bill continues to progress through Parliament, we'll probably see more changes coming in for that. Now, on VAT withholding agents, right? If you're an agent, person who collects VAT on behalf of the government, then the KRA's reach in appointing manufacturers as agents will be widened. The finance bill wants to do away with the proposal of 3 billion investment threshold. That's the threshold you need to have before you can become an agent. Now, agents will now be expected to remit collections to KRA within 5 working days and not the 20th of every month. All right. So when you receive the VAT within 5 working days, then you remit it to the government. Now, there's another thing here called eTIMS. eTIMS is the electronic tax system that the government has been trying to use. And the Finance Bill 2024 now proposes that you must integrate eTIMS in all your transactions. Now, failure to comply, you'll be slapped with 2 million shillings penalty every month. Every single month. Now, you'll note that many of the large businesses are already integrated with KRA systems. So this one is that targeted at the Mama Mboga and the Boda Boda and the small guy down there. 2 million shillings every month when you do not integrate e-teams in your transactions. Sawa. Now, another notable change, cigarettes. Excise on, let's start with telephone and internet data. Excise duty is now increasing from 15%, 20%. So you're going to see an increase in your monthly payment for data services and internet services. Money transfer by banks, money transfer agencies and other financial services has increased to 20%. So you're going to see there are more charges for you to transact or to withdraw your money. Now, there's also excise duty on fees charged for money transfer services by cellular phone services such as M-Pesa. Betting, excise duty is back to 20%, and that's 20% of the stake, which means if you bet 100 shillings, the government takes 20, and your stake becomes 80 shillings. All right? So now it looks like we are back to that 20% number. What do you think about this? I know there are some people who are just giving their feedback. Remember, you can give us your feedback on the socials at Power Radio. We are here. We'll be able to just read some of those comments that are coming through. Of course, Flozi in studio is telling me that we have some feedback. So I'm going to be looking at that in a short while. But yes, any of these taxes, is there anything that you've come across and you're looking at it and you're wondering, hey, kutaendaje hapa? Just let us know. Let us get that feedback. When we come back, we just look at a few more proposals. And then we talk about what provisions are in the Constitution, because this is not the end of the road. This is just the start of that road. So what does the law provide in case of taking your feedback and your opinion on these taxes? It's not just enough to be angry and tweet about it. There is actually a window and a door that is provided for you to give your feedback on these matters. So let's get some music, and then when we come back, we'll look at that. Asanteni sana, let's go.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Qualified. It's a tune that we call out. Hilani Chameleon, yes, you ball out. Different combination of a stand out. Africa love you, you know what it is. You're my darling. Dancing on a mama.
Nitavumilia, nitakwamilia,
That's Chameleon and Elani. Hey, whoever thought you could say that? Chameleon and Elani. But I think you need to actually look at Chameleon's rise, because this guy came to Kenya and he completely blew up, and that's why we consider him one of us. He's a homegrown guy. So we're talking about the Finance Bill 2024. It has some proposals on incoming taxes, increasing some taxes, reducing some taxes. Just looking at all that. Now, motorcycles, Nduthi, all right? If a motorbike costs at 130,000 shillings and above, Treasury has proposed to raise excise duty from the flat rate of featuring the current flat rate of 12,952, or a new proposed rate of 10% of the unit's value. All right, so we're going to see an increase also in the price of getting a boda boda because of that excise duty increase. This move is likely to affect most motorcycles with an engine capacity of 100cc or more, and will, of course, push them out of the reach of many Kenyans. Now, beer lovers, Treasury has proposed to cut excise duty on a 500 milliliter bottle of beer with 4.2% alcohol content from 71 shillings and 22 cents to 47 shillings to 25 cents. Now, this means that your beer is likely to become cheaper. I think I can see what the government is trying to do here. Punish them with taxes, then give them cheap alcohol. That's one way to deal with it, isn't it? Well, the question I have for us is, how do you feel about these new taxes that are being brought in? Is there any tax that you're happy with? Is there any reduction you're happy with? Mike Chahira is locked in out of Ngong, and he says he's enjoying the show, and he's requesting... Mike, what song you request has to be a Kenyan song, because this station we only play Kenyan music. So I see here you want Misty and Roots, Wanderer by Misty and Roots. Anyway, Mike says the proposals are mad, including banking and mobile transfers. Sharing data should be protected from privacy. Let us know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on some of these proposals that are being made by government in terms of tax? How do you feel about your bread attracting more money? Now, Kenya's constitution, when it was written, one of the challenges that the writers realized is that you have a situation where the governed, which is us, the politicians, they go ahead, they create laws, they never ask us any questions, they never ask us whether that's the law we want. So there was created a requirement for public participation when it comes to creation of laws. And this finance bill will be one of the laws that will be looked at and will be subjected to public participation. So one of the things that will happen is that the bill will first go to cabinet. Once the cabinet adopts the bill, it will go to parliament. Parliament will then invite us for public participation. All right? So what does that public participation look like? Look out in the newspapers for an advert by parliament. They'll be sending an advert and sharing details of how you can give your feedback. Feedback can be given electronically, either by way of emails, or you actually go to parliament yourself and you give that feedback. Whether they're going to take that feedback and actually act on it is another matter altogether. But this is one of the safeguards that the Constitution of Kenya has provided. So how do you feel? Maybe you're a photographer listening to this. You've been charging people fees, but you don't include an e-teams. Know that moving forward, if this is adopted, you are going to be slapped with a fine of 2 million shillings per month for every time you fail to issue an invoice with an e-teams, with the e-teams invoice. Sawa sawa. Kuandikiana risiti ya mkono, hiyo inakuja kuisha. That is the reality of where we're going. If you have 4 cars, hey, just prepare yourself to pay 10% of all those cars' value as part of the taxes. So what do you feel about some of this? Is there anything you might want to change? I think one of the things I've seen online is that people are saying that the motor vehicle tax should only be issued towards commercial vehicles, because when you buy your car, you're not really using it for any other thing except transporting you. So it's not for a commercial purpose. There's no income you're deriving from using your car. So why is the taxation coming your way? I think those are some good thoughts there. Hopefully the government is going to be able to listen to these. But remember, we have said that we'll be looking out to see whether Parliament will issue that notice for us to give our feedback and to give our comments on this. Now, let's talk about public participation, all right? So what is public participation? This is basically the process of interaction between the public and the state with an aim of making an acceptable and a better decision, okay? The process involves informing and listening, dialogue, debate, and analysis and implementation of agreed solutions. So who can participate in this? Any member of the public can participate in it. You can participate as a person. You can participate as a group. If some of these changes are affecting you as a group, as an investment group, for instance, you can come together and say, these are our proposals as a people, all right? Now, the Constitution of Kenya is very clear that Parliament shall not bar anyone from participating in public affairs on any grounds, such as age, race, color, gender, or political affiliation. It's actually open to every single person. Now, as we talk about public participation, what are some of the areas where public participation can be seen? Let's start with law-making process. Now, under Article 118, 1B of the Constitution of Kenya, Parliament is required to facilitate public participation and involvement in legislative and other business of the Assembly and its committees. It further provides that Parliament conducts its business in an open manner and holds its sittings and those of committees in public. So this means that when a bill has been introduced in Parliament and it has been referred to the relevant committee, the committee places adverts in the media requesting for public views. Now they take those views into consideration while considering the bill and preparing their report. So this is one of the things that's going to happen with the finance bill. Now, what about financial matters? Now, there's a public finance framework under Article 201, 221, and 232 of the Constitution that requires public participation be integrated in the consideration of financial matters. We actually have the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and the National Assembly standing orders that provide for this. Therefore, if anything, all right, has that finance perspective, members of the public are invited to make their submission. So the good thing with the finance bill is that it's both legislative and it's also financial. So it's covered under that, all right? Now, there's also the question of oversight. And I think we have seen this with Linturi, who had been taken to Parliament for impeachment. That process, that is known as oversight, okay? So the National Assembly oversights the national government executive by holding it to account. They approve appointments, they process removal from office, they review statutory instruments, among other actions. So the public can participate in that. You'll recall even when cabinet secretaries were being appointed, they invited comments from the public. You know, is there something you know about this person that we should have in mind when we are reviewing them for this position? So when we come back, we're going to be talking about the tools for public participation. What are some of the tools that the Constitution and the law has provided for you as you engage with Parliament on public participation? Let's get some music. Thank you for joining us, and we're here for a good time. Let's go.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Zimeni bamba zimeni, ukweli wangu wa dhati ndio hii, wanishikisha zimeni bamba zimeni, ukweli wangu wa mambo ndio hii, wanishikisha
nakutamani nakuhitaji mama, siji kukosoa kwani uko poa mami. Run it up, back it up, wacha nikupende, oh yes. Nakuhitaji mama, siji kukosoa kwani uko poa mami. Run it up, back it up, wacha nikupende, oh yes.
That you want me for real. When your body move, girl, I know body breathe. I step pull up the receipt, pull up the receipt, gala pull up the receipt. Mambo ya mapenzi ni kubambana, girls they be rocking it one by one, by step. Pull up the receipt, pull up the receipt, gala pull up the receipt.
Nakutamani, nakuhitaji mama, siji kukosoa kwani uko poa mami. Run it up, back it up, wacha nikupende, oh yes. Nakuhitaji mama, siji kukosoa kwani uko poa mami. Run it up, back it up, wacha nikupende, oh yes. Zimeni bamba, ukweli wangu wa dhati ndio hii. Wanishikisha, zimeni bamba, ukweli wangu wa mambo ndio hii. Wanishikisha, oh na na na, show me that your love is real. Oh la la la, pull up slow, real close to me. Nakutamani, nakuhitaji mama, siji kukosoa kwani uko poa mami. Run it up, back it up, wacha nikupende, oh yes.
Yes. We're talking about the Finance Act and some of the proposals the Finance Act is making. And what are some of the tools of public participation? Because remember, the beauty about the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is that it ensured that you and I, as the ruled, right, or as the subjects, as the governed, we do not just take whatever is given to us. We can actually participate. So how are some of the ways that you can participate in public participation? Now, one of the ways you can do this is by way of a petition. Article 119 of the Constitution of Kenya provides for engagement by way of a petition. The public can petition Parliament on any matter under its authority, including enacting, amending, or repealing legislation, removal of public officers from office under Article 251 of the Constitution. Now, this is something that I've seen used a lot by Kenyans. I've even seen the people who live in some of the estates where there's a lot of noise from the establishments, they have actually petitioned Parliament. So your MP, your senator, you can actually send a petition and they will listen to it, they will call you and they'll get your views and all that. So that's one of the ways that the Constitution provides. The other one is through the submission of memoranda. When the National Assembly is considering bills, statutory instruments, budget estimates, or conducting an inquiry, the general public may make submissions on the subject matter. When conducting approval hearings or processing removal from office, the public is invited to present memoranda on the suitability or otherwise of the concerned public officer. So not only does this come at the point of, let's say, removal, like the Linturi case, but even at the point of, at the place of appointment, at that original place, when the president says, I hereby nominate Wangoi to be the cabinet secretary for this, you actually have a right under the Constitution to submit a memorandum and say, I know Wangoi, I gave her 50,000 shillings 10 years ago, she has never paid it back, na amekuwa na kiburi, she should not be hired because she violates the values under the Constitution and Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. Sawa. Now, one of the third ways as well that the Constitution has provided is through public forums. Now, public forums, of course, they provide an opportunity for a face-to-face engagement between members of Parliament and citizens, through which instant feedback and observations can be received. Committees of Parliament undertake public hearings, so it's always good to look at the papers to see where there'll be a public hearing on a matter touching on you. And they do this through meetings in and outside Parliament. And they also do the inspection on site visits for the projects. So all that, members of the public are free to attend such committee meetings. So by the way, keep it up for Parliament. Hakuna mtu atakuuliza, just say you're going there to attend a committee meeting. No one is going to turn your back and try to tell you anything else. All right? Now, there's also a process that has to be followed when talking about public participation. The first one is that you begin by creating awareness. Now, this awareness is created through placing adverts in mainstream media, both print and electronic. That is a requirement for Parliament, okay? They have to create and put those adverts in newspapers of public circulation and also electronically online, right? Now, the purpose of this is to help in generating awareness, and it increases citizen uptake of the information that you're giving them. Then the second thing is involvement. You have to identify the relevant stakeholders or the interested groups, the people who will be directly affected and those that can offer solutions. So, for instance, if we are making rules, for instance, about boda use in Kenya, you're not going to call teachers to come and give you as stakeholders, right? Because though they may be stakeholders at some level, the number one stakeholder clearly in that space is the boda drivers, so some of the boda associations. So you have to be key about who is being invited to come and offer their solutions. Then you contact the public. Communication to the stakeholders is done through writing, and they're invited for meetings and requesting submissions of documents or memoranda. Because remember, while you have this small group of the people who will be affected, you also have to involve the entire public, because what the Constitution wants is that we all live in a country where we can give our feedback, we can give our stories, we can come and present any alternative views. Then after that, there'll be meetings that will be held to get views, and this may also include field visits. And then finally, there'll be a feedback mechanism through drafting and tabling of the report in Parliament. So why is this important? I'm sharing this with you because we expect that this is the same formula that will be used when it comes to reviewing the current finance bill that has been presented. So please, please, please prepare yourself to give your feedback. Prepare yourself to give some of your thoughts on these taxes that are being introduced. Do you like them? Don't you like them? Do you agree with them? Don't you agree with them? What are some of the things that need to be done? Sawa sawa. When we come back, we're going to be reading some of the feedback from the socials. What are some of the things people have said about this finance bill? I'm going to be sharing that with you shortly. But let's go. Let's get some music.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
So much to celebrate and more blessings on the way.
Don't fight the feeling when you find the one you love. Don't fight it, feel it. When you find something you love, when you find something you love, when you find something you love, I ain't got no time, so I'm enjoying today. So much to celebrate and more blessings on the way. And they don't kill my vibe. I found my peaceful place. This moment is divine. Don't fight the feeling when you find the one you love. Don't fight it, feel it. When you find something you love, when you find something you love, when you find something you love, no one knows tomorrow. When it's your turn, you just don't know. In my bag, I can't go wrong. Lead up, never follow. I'm not scared to fly alone. I'm finding my own way home. Don't fight the feeling. When you find the one you love, don't fight it, feel it. When you find something you love, when you find something you love, when you find something you love,
Yeah, I'm just here in the studio and people are shocked that you're going to be paying tax maybe I didn't make this clear and I need to make it clear. What the act wants to do is that if you buy a car, let's say today you buy a car for 2 million shillings, all right? You'll pay your duty, then the car is yours. When you go to get your insurance for that car, you'll pay the insurance premiums, which is around 4%, but you will also pay a motor vehicle tax, which is 2.5%. So 2.5 on this finance bill. There's Ruben says online that the finance bill is an annual reminder that we have a captured parliament. Our budget process has been captured by the executive and MPs seem clueless, yet budget making and executive oversight are key functions of an MP. Parliament is the weakest link when it comes to taxation, right? Someone else says, guys, please engage your local MP if they're on this platform. They cannot ignore us all. We need answers on the Finance Bill 2024, note their responses and monitor how they vote once the question is put to them on the floor of the House. And someone else was saying, the mood after reading the first few pages of the Finance Bill, mtu amejishika kichwa anapumua bara. Hey, serikali. What's going to happen? Now, someone else as well says that the worst thing about this proposed finance bill is that it's almost guaranteed to pass as it is, bearing the abysmal quality of the legislative branch. I think a lot of people are not very comfortable, or they just know Parliament is gone. Parliament is actually not going to turn away any of these things. So there you have it. That's the Finance Bill 2024. Remember, this will go to the Cabinet, and the Cabinet will be able to look at it and give their feedback on that. After that, it will go to Parliament, where Parliament will look at it. Now, one of the interesting things about Kenya and how we charge taxes is that the first time the motor vehicle tax was mentioned, it was mentioned at 5%, right? When it came in the bill, it came at 2.5%. So it's almost a way. There's this thing in Kenya where something is put at a ridiculous rate, then it's reduced, then finally you accept it and say, hey, at least it's 1%, it's not 5%. But then you fail to remember that before that it was 0%. So that seems to be a key thing that's happening here. We've seen it happen with fuel, where the increases were ridiculous, then a small drop, and then we are like, whew, let's breathe a huge sigh of relief. The beauty about this, as John Alanamu says, is that we are now seeing that Kenyans are more and more vigilant on matters to do with the economy. And one of the ways you can be that vigilant is to actually engage in public participation. Look out for those advertisements by Parliament inviting people to bring in their comments on those matters. But this is it for Sheria Dive today. When we meet on Saturday, we're going to be just expanding this conversation further and looking at some of the things that can be done. What is some of the feedback that we are getting in this our country, Kenya? Remember, this is the only place we can call home. We have no other place to call home. So come what may, we have to make it work. Have a lovely afternoon, and thank you for joining us and keeping us on this 1 hour, keeping us company. Asante sana. God bless you, and have a lovely week ahead. Let's go.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
I want this girl to come and dance with me like so.
Nikikazana na shule nilikazanga mashule sikafungi. Saina tana ndani ya club hataona Tuesday. Na miojipata kila sana papa saka shude. Pasa dansa mini mututu matuste. Mafisi wanahanga ya mahaga na macute face. Na binti anakani kama yeni star wa movie. Mwili yamebeba kama nganya ya bure. Itabidi hata bili kizidi weka mbele baridi na glass ya champagne for the girl. Then kite kale kimamia dance for the man. Dem akeli mechezi non after club ni madhare. Nikatikie hivi usiku yote hadi ngwari.
I want this girl to come and dance with me like so.
Ati magaldem watamaliza demandem, sijali parent washani malizia mshande. Jumande to Monday niweke klande, mtofauti kwa budget plus na beste yake. Itabaki mpange mpango wangu wa kando. Juu hao magaldem wako fine kama salamu. napiga Kiswahili kama mtaalamu, na sijatoka area za Malindi ya Malamu. Akingorea na chorea kakalamu, alafu songea beste yake na Hawayu, na tupa lugha nikioda tu mang'angu, baadaye na kafunga kakarao.
I want this girl to come and dance with me like so, like so, like so, like so, like so, like so.
Anani Marisa na kafiga akikatika majaliwa, hata niambia amemarika juu amepakisha maninja wote wamemkaribia, but najiamini ya kakitrack chenye shiski kwanza nikichangamusha bale na matota whisky ajipatanisha manage kumsongeshia kete nikimchangamusha pale na mashots kambili fukwe kule damage madeni zizidi mashida baadaye brother iko nene na assets on assets ka budget ya inchi na mkolisha the language engie box we fit mpaka pige dance ni rombo semwele.
I want this girl to come and dance with me like so, like so, like so, like so, like so, like so.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.